Welcome to my workshop tour part 1. I've split this into 2 parts for the simple reason that I have 2 workshops. Both workshops I built myself. If you've been following my channel for a while, you'll know that my original intention was to have one woodworking workshop and a car restoration workshop for my Mini, but that didn't quite go to plan. This brick building is my main workshop, which I'll cover in part 2. But in part 1 I'll be looking at the most recent build that I did on my channel, which was originally intended to be the car workshop, but is now more of my Mancave workshop. I was retired on ill health after nearly 20 years in the fire service. I used the money they gave me to set up my workshop so that I'd always have something to keep my mind busy, and everything that I make and sell goes back into buying new tools and materials so I can keep on making. Ideally I wanted a concrete tiled roof to protect from all the birds above, but had to settle for bitumen tiles to keep the permitted height down. It's only a small workshop at 3 metres by 3 metres. It was planned at twice the size, but the water issue that I had in the garden meant that the building had to be resized. Inside it's cladded on every wall with tongue and groove, and I have the adjustable shelving brackets on the walls so that I can swap and change everything if required. It's important that I keep it tidy as there's very little room to move, plus my missus is also able to use the workshop for her soap making and textile hobbies. To save money on a window blind, I recently made a cover using an old curtain which does the job of keeping the sun out when I need to film my videos. It also helps prevent all my alarm systems going off accidentally. Everything's hooked up to one giant network, so when one goes off the whole lot goes off, which is great but wakes up the whole street. The floor has Duramat interlocking tiles in both of my workshops and helps keep things clean and reduces joint pain in the knees. The table in the workshop is from IKEA and I just sanded off the finish, and every now and again I give it a good quick sand to bring it back to looking new. Underneath the table I'm able to keep all of my craftware equipment such as tables and decor, and although it's difficult to see, bagged up at the back there's my gazebo. It's also useful for storing a few fitness weights and a box of my scroll saw offcuts. The craftware table is also great as an outdoor bench when I'm woodworking outside, and I've always got the gazebo here if I need some shelter. Amongst the gazebo I've also got tripods for cameras and a green screen. Then a few little random weights that my son uses and a contraption for neck strengthening which I used to use when I was Thai boxing. I tend to keep all my offcuts now so that I can use them for my scroll saw projects. This is just one of several boxes that I have and usually has a bit of oak, walnut, sapele, meranti, beech, maple, sycamore and ash. This wall I use as a bit of a pick-me-up wall. It's nice sometimes just to remind yourself of the things that you've achieved in life or hurdles that you managed to overcome. The Jammy Dodger coaster makes a nice little display and was a video I made a short while back. It's amazing actually how many people have asked to buy it, but it's one of those things that's not for sale. This little plaque was given to me by the folks at Woodworking UK Facebook group. It was a really nice gesture and gave me the boost I needed after having such a hard time both mentally and physically sorting out the water issue in my garden. It's a great little plaque, the machine brass insert's spot on, and it's something that I'm really grateful for to have received. A few years back I entered as a heavyweight into a grappling competition which came with all sorts of challenges. I keep the medals on display as a reminder of the struggles that I faced and overcame and the great friends that I made at the event. Then there's of course my first guitar build. This was a huge challenge but well worth the hassle. It gets played regularly and there's a few things on the guitar that are slightly different than most, such as the milliput that I added as fret dots. The table I try and keep clear at all times just in case my missus needs to use the workshop. If you follow Smugwoodmini you'll recognise these as the Cooper disc brakes that I'm currently filming. Having never restored a car before, this is certainly a big challenge, but one I'm really looking forward to completing. There's a microwave in the workshop for melting soap, which is one of my wife's many hobbies, and it's something that I've even had a go at myself. There's a few bits of melt and pour soap accessories kept in here, and it's a great place for storing my longer clamps. I tend to keep my pry engraved wood in here because of the balance of moisture content. I tend to use the same woods over and over again, so I've got maple for guitar necks, got some sapele for my scroll sewing, got some thick pieces of maple from British hardwoods as most of my wood is, but the majority of the wood that I have is oak, usually rift sawn or quarter sawn depending on the piece that I'm making, and I have a few pieces of ash for those fine engraving jobs. Something that gets used quite regularly is this bell chime. My lad and my wife needs a MIDI can bell me on this and it's portable so it works all around the garden. I struggle to work without music, so I also have Alexa to keep me company and supply me with all my musical requirements. I do a lot of my voiceover work in here, such as this video, so pop filter really helps prevent unwanted noise in the mic. It's only a cheap one, but it was a really good buy. I tend to keep random courses lying around as well, just in case. It's more for my wife's cups of tea really. Stuffed away in the corner and banter in the house is my virtual pinball table that I made as one of my early video projects. I get emails and questions every week about the build and it's been a great fun project. It's obviously not switched on here, but it provides hours of fun, and I was due to bring it to Maker Central this year and have it on display. Zen Studios, who make the software, kindly gave me permission to use their artwork, which I cheekily modified by adding myself and my son to the design. It's a great project and I'm currently designing a half-size version for the house. It also makes a great place to store my weights bench and a set of kettlebells that I use to hold down the gazebo. The back wall is kept fairly clear apart from my guitar amp and the soundbar. This is mainly for listening to and playing my music when I need to chill out. I also use it when I'm recording my backing tracks to the videos. This wall has machines that I tend to use for fun rather than for business. I'm fortunate to have some really nice machines, but it's not because I've got lots of money. I opted to use my retirement money to buy the machines. Because I sell some items that I make, I had to register as a business, hence Smugwood. But everything I make goes back into the business to buy materials and tools and allows me to keep on making the videos, which is something that I really enjoy doing. It helps me mentally, and from the feedback I receive I know there are a few people that enjoy watching the videos. So it's more about having fun and enjoying what I'm doing and keeping my mind busy rather than making money. One way that I like to distress is using my scroll saw. This was another video project a while back and has been really useful. It's portable and on nice days I'm able to take it outside to use. As the drawers say, the top drawer has all my blades and files, the middle drawer has all my scrolling books, and the bottom is full of bits and bobs. I was quite fearful of having a high-speed grinder firing sparks everywhere, so I have a Tormek T7. It's great for about 90% of my grinding needs, but I found it wouldn't sharpen my skew chisel. I even took the chisel to Axminster Tools, who tried on their Tormek but couldn't do it. But for my normal chisels and my gouges it's brilliant. There's a whole load of accessories as well to help with all the different chisels. This is my green screen, but to be honest I rarely use it, maybe I just need some ideas. My lathe's great, although it's not without its faults. I'll explain more in part 2, but I had a workshop fire a few years back and most of my tools got damaged, including the lathe. The insurance company didn't want any of the machines back as the damage meant that they were unsellable. I spent a lot of time trying to fix and clean them, such as this lathe, but it's an ongoing process as the smoke caused everything metal to flash rust. It also means that the wiring could fail at any time. You can see the rust on the pen mandrel and the live centre. It appeared within hours of the smoke damage and it won't go away even when cleaned. I made this little rack for my chisels which has been really handy. It was mentioned about the risk from sharp edges pointing up, but it's never been an issue and it's tucked away safely behind the lathe. On the shelves I've got my guitar leads, my plectrons, a mixing disc for the saw, which actually needs to be on the other shelf, and my glue gun, which is clearly labelled. I always have a few tubes of milliput handy, and this is the colour chart that I made recently. Every time I purchase or cut a pen blank it goes into this box. I try and prepare a lot of the blanks so that I've always got one ready for turning and I'm not having to wait for the glue to set. I do make a few native wood pens and a few common woods, but I mostly use a 4-figured olive wood. The majority of the olive wood gets fitted to Zeta pens, which I get from Dan at Taylor's Murfield. In this box I have most of my pen kits. As previously mentioned, most are from Taylor's Murfield. There's also quite a few from Axminster Tools and Beaufort Ink. And I got a few more coasters. The top shelf is mostly for my woodworking magazines and my books. In these boxes I keep all my pen barrels and bushes as well as a few accessories and chucks. I find it easier bulk buying barrels and then making the pen bodies. Then once they're finished I'll buy the appropriate pen kit. These are a few of the wooden business card holders that I made and videoed a few years back, and they're really handy for storing my business cards in. I keep only a small supply of turning finishes. I use melamine for my pen finishes. I did use super glue originally, but that's not really designed as a pen finish and can have issues further down the line. I have a friction polish which I use now and again, and I've got my headstrong butter which I tend to use with maple when I just need the grain popping. I've also got Loctite which I use on my pen kits, and I've got a couple of different waxes that I use now and again. Got some antibacterial hand gel just in case, and I got a box of lathe accessories. You can really see the effects of the smoke damage on these. They looked brand new for ages, but they went rusty after the smoke damage and they need wiping every time that I need to use them. If you saw my video on turning the perfect egg, this is the shadow jig that I use. I use light from above to follow a pattern and it allows for almost perfect turning. This is where all my extractor exhaust air goes, which vents externally, although I've got to sort the issue out of it sucking all the air out of the workshop and causing the workshop to become one giant vacuum because the workshop is so well sealed. When I'm turning, I have this removable shelf. It's got a little plastic bin, milliput sample colours, a brad awl, bushes, a little egg jig that I use to set up my egg shadow turning with, and my removable micropad stand that I made a while back, which comes in really handy when sanding my pen. This wall is kept simple as all the electrics and the alarm security cables pass through here. So there's just a little stud detector, my clock and humidity gauge, and another little biscuit display of a Ritz tea coaster that I made a few years ago. I get people asking if I've got a YouTube channel or an Instagram channel or Facebook account, so I use this frame from Mancave just to make a little advertising board. And of course, no workshop's complete without a homemade lightsaber. With it being such a small workshop, there's not many places to hang a meter rule, so the side of the door makes it easy to find and keeps it out of the way. Lighting is just 4 LED lights, but I've got to fit a loft hatch and some form of ventilation, as you can see that when I open and close the door, the air has nowhere to escape. So if you enjoyed this tour, let me know, and if it's of interest I'll make a video of my main workshop for part 2. Can I just say a huge thank you to all my patrons for helping to support my channel, and of course to everyone else who watches my videos. If it's of interest, then by all means check out Smugwood on Instagram, but for now, thanks for watching and stay safe. Prior to making the videos on YouTube, I worked as a firefighter for nearly 20 years, serving my community and helping to save lives and promote the fire safety message. Unfortunately, an accumulation of many upsetting scenes became too much for my mind to cope with, and after years of failed therapy I was retired from the service on the grounds of ill health and signed off medically from any employment. To keep myself busy, both body and mind, I developed an interest in woodworking and car mechanics, and with already having a hobby in filming and music, I combined my interests and started making videos here on YouTube, filming, editing and composing my own music for my woodworking and car restoration channels Smugwood and Smugwoodmini. Unfortunately, to produce such videos comes at a price, and with minimal funds after being retired from employment, I've turned to Patreon to see if there is additional support out there which could allow me to continue making the woodworking and car restoration videos. In return for support, there are various levels which are explained in more depth at the Patreon link below, but includes the chance to win one of my YouTube projects made throughout the year, and also inclusion into random prize draws open to patrons only. In addition, I'd like to thank everybody who already subscribes to my channels, or watches, comments, likes and shares them, as it all goes to help support my channels, and for that I'm really appreciative. It's my hope that I can continue making the videos for the foreseeable future. Thanks once again for your continued support.